is blue. My heart is blue for you. Hi,
Hello,
Hal.
hello, Billy. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks so much for speaking to me.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to speak.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, you must be, it's kind of like a bittersweet pill to swallow, I guess. It's great to celebrate that you've been around for 20 years, but at the same time, it's like, bloody hell, I've been around for 20 years as well now.
Exactly. That's actually what started it all, pretty much, with the whole collection of the best of. Is that I think it was a couple of summers ago. I would introduce our song with you by saying, "So we've been doing this for nearly 20 years, and we just want to say thank you to everybody for being so supportive for the whole time. And we hope we do it for another 20 years." And people will come up to me and just be like, "20 years? Are you kidding me? What
Yeah.
are you doing to us? You're driving us crazy. You're reminding us how old we are." I was like, well, I'm reminding myself how old I am too. So it's kind of it's nice, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, time passes. We're all decaying a little bit in our own special ways. But we're just so lucky to have spent the last 20 years making music, releasing music, touring the world, and yeah, we'll celebrate it with the release of a best of.
Uh-huh. I'm quite curious. I mean, a couple to that, I'm quite curious. Obviously, you play a lot of the older songs when you go on tour all the time anyway, but kind of specifically going back in time and kind of handpicking kind of the highlights of your career must have been really kind of nostalgic, cathartic, um, maybe wondering where some of those memories went that you maybe can't remember because a lot of, especially art musicians, don't tend to
Yeah.
remember kind of when they've been in certain places. So I'm quite curious when you kind of because a lot of just for me just from listening to music, certain songs remind me of certain places and certain times and certain people. So I'm quite curious what kind of memories came back, whether they be kind of nostalgic, dramatic, bizarre, weird, whichever.
Yeah. Well, you're
What kind
so
of things?
right. You're so right in that, like, we've been playing these songs for a really long time, and I think when you play live, you're very much in the moment because it's kind of spontaneous. You're playing the songs. We don't play to backing tracks or anything like that, so
Yeah.
we can start the songs whenever we like. We can stop halfway through. So it's very immediate for us when we're playing in the moment. We've got a bunch of people in front of us, and they're having a good time. They're living in the moment too. And so there's not so much casting your mind back, but I did find when you're going, oh, because initially I sent through to our manager, I was like 30 songs. I can't imagine the album without any of these songs. He was like, it's too many. You have
Yeah.
to reduce it a little bit, and you have to choose. You have to prioritize certain songs over other ones, and you start really like there's a tension going on there,
Yeah, and
and you
so sorry to
start
interrupt you, but no matter what you choose, fans are always going to say, "Ah, but what about this one? Why didn't you add this one?"
for sure.
And it's kind of it's
Yeah,
not just what you want to add; it's kind of you've got to think about what everyone else wants to listen to as well on top of that. No,
exactly. There are so many like factors involved. It's like, okay, so we want to celebrate the last 20 years. We want to pick the songs that mean a lot to us, and we have to do that in like a unanimity. So it's like, uh, uh, so if a person we get a veto. So if someone says, "I'd rather that, not that," we'll listen. We tend to listen.
yeah,
So there's a lot of sort of extraction going on there, and then you're like, okay, so. But what would they want to hear? What do our family want to hear on this record? Like, what do our
right,
fans want to hear? What do our friends want to hear when they play this record? So there are all these different factors that are going on, and it's very similar to when we formulate a set list. And actually, the way we came about uh, organizing the track listing for the record was we were like, okay, so let's think of this in terms of a set list. Let's go, because that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years. Is like, we get a track listing for a record that's cemented, that's released. But when we're on tour, we're chopping and changing all the time, and it's actually a really creative process. And so we're like, let's think of this in terms of like a festival set list where we have an hour and a bit to go on stage in front of a bunch of people who probably never heard of us before, amongst 100 other bands, and we have to really nail it.
yeah,
So that's how we approached it, and we set it up like a track, like a set list. But there have been some instances. where we've come off stage and someone will have sent me like a message on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or something, and they'll go, I can't believe you didn't play this song tonight. I've been
Exactly.
waiting
Yeah.
all this time and you didn't play it, like get songs like Girls and Boys. So when it came to sorting the track listing for this, I was like, well, we can't leave Girls and Boys out because I remember that message I got from that really
Which
angry
one do
fan
we
that we
take
didn't.
out because of that one, though?
Yeah, in Aberdeen, we didn't play it that one night in Aberdeen in 2009. But at the same time, I think like when we were what's different to actually formulating a set list where we play in the now, in the moment, we were like, oh, crikey. So now we're choosing between like a bunch of songs that were recorded on the first record. Why am I going to choose this one? And it's like, it's because I have a really fond connection with it. It's because of all the associated memories attached to it as well. We've had a great time playing this live for the last 20 years. I remember that time in Berlin at Huxley's, the
Yeah.
response we got. Or do you remember when we wrote that song and how precious that moment was to us? How we realized, wow, we're moving forwards here. So we did have to factor all of that. And there were moments where the inclusion of something like "Oh Yeah," which was always going to happen, I think, because it is such a big song for us. It's a song we start our set with because the drum beat is just so
Yeah.
massive and it just gets everybody going straight away. But I did go like, I'm actively choosing "Oh Yeah" to be on this record, and why am I doing that? Because when I remember writing it and being in the rehearsal room in Welwyn Garden City, which was just a couple of streets away from where I am now, in a community centre that we paid £3.50 per hour to rent out so that we could, at the end of the day after we'd all finished our jobs, sort of assemble and just, flesh out these ideas that we'd
Yeah.
been percolating all day. And I remember when we first finished writing that song and we were like, God, this is jam-packed with like really interesting parts, isn't it? Like this is going to be great to play at the Buffalo Bar in High Islington to 10 people next week. And then there are moments where, like, there's this one song called Just Like Jude, which is off our fourth record. And it's not a song that's like a single or anything like that, but it's just a song that's acquired over time, accumulated this passion from like a certain section of our fans that really like our punky side and our melodic side. And my dad, I always remember my dad going, I adore that song. And I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. Why is it? He's like, I don't know. I just really, really love that song. And that's always stuck with me. And that's another reason why that song had to be on the compilation. And it is like all these different things that are being churned up, all these memories, nostalgia, sentimentality, um, and just yeah, just remembrances.
Uh-huh. I mean, I love the fact that you talk about a lot of your kind of your really old, well, your older tracks. I want really old now. They're older tracks, but I really love how you kind of you still speak to them with kind of like this real passion for them and kind of what they have. Because a lot of bands who've got this kind of, I mean, even you've got one specific track that's very very iconic for you, of course.
Yeah.
I won't even name it, but I mean, it doesn't need naming. But I mean, like Radiohead's "Creep" is another example. There's bands
Yeah.
just get so ticked off with having to play the same song and having it and kind of walking in through Morrison's supermarket and hearing it, and they get fed up with it. So it's really good to kind of hear you talking about, especially your older songs, with so much kind of energy and kind of excitement to get them out there again. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think like I look back and I think where those songs took us, when I was writing Young Fraternity, I was working in a hotel collecting the dirty sheets from the hotel rooms and packing them off, and it was, 7 or 8 hours a day, and it was pretty menial work, but it was work that was really good for me. It got me up in the morning, it got me earning, but it also gave me a lot of thinking time. Because it didn't require a lot of thought. So I'd write songs in my head. I'd go home to my parents' council house. I'd go upstairs, pick up my guitar, and the song ideas that I'd been, sort of filtering through in my head all day and creating and, sort of sewing together. I'd corporeally, like concretely get them into like a shape. Like I'd play them out on the guitar, I'd sing them, and then sometimes I'd pop downstairs and I'd play them to my mum or my dad and go, "What do you think?"
Really?
I remember playing with you for the first time for my mum and her just going, "Billy, something's happening here.
Uh-huh.
This is really special. That's a really great song." But something like Rock and Roll Queen is is a song that took us from that job that I was working every single
Yeah.
day. And then we were playing gigs in London to 10, 20, 30 people and eventually selling out these smaller venues around London for took us a good couple of years. But Rock and Roll Queen took us from that and got us on a plane going to America, going to Australia,
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
to Japan, going around Europe. And I always think back to those days where I'm like, that song did that for me. So when I start playing that B power chord and
Yeah.
everyone's faces light up and they start clapping and they start dancing, it fills my heart with joy. And I just
Yeah.
think, God, I'm so lucky to be doing this.
Yeah. No, I mean, the reason I talk about that song is because I mean, obviously, there's so many bands that get a song like that and then they kind of disappear into oblivion. Whereas this
Right.
didn't happen with you. But I'm curious. I mean, obviously, you're really thankful for that song because it
Mm.
took you, like you said, everywhere. But at the same time, I guess it kind of casts this kind of shadow over you when you're writing again,
Mm.
maybe to try and to kind of relive or rewrite something along those lines. Not that you haven't, because I mean, even the newest singles are
Mm.
really up there for me. I mean, the last single you released is just fantastic. It's
Oh,
really, even though you've been going for 20 years, it just feels as youthful as anything at the moment. So yeah, I mean, that really works. But I'm really curious about how how much that track played on kind of informing you how you wanted to kind of create new hits, if you will.
sure. Well, thank you so much about those words about the new song. And I wrote that new song a couple of years ago when I had just been dumped by text. We were on tour around
All
Europe,
right.
and one of my best friends had just passed away, and it was just a horrible time. And I just feel so lucky that I had my guitar there, I had the band there, I had the crowds to go and play to every night, and it got me through because I
Right.
did feel really abandoned, but I also feel really lucky that I have this opportunity to sort of consolidate all the flux of all the emotions I was going through and to sort of just go, this is how I'm feeling. This is the reason why. And
Uh-huh.
once you formalize it in a song, you're like, oh, I feel like I can move on now.
Right.
And not just that, not just emotionally and sort of uh, cognitively can I move on, but at the same time, I have this artifact now that we can record and release, and hopefully people will feel joy at listening to it or feel like their own experiences have been heard and seen and that kind of thing. But at the same time, we get to play punk music. But I
Yeah.
think like going back to the start of your question, which is like about Rock and Roll Queen, I think with our second record, All or Nothing, we were so sure that we were going to do something completely different to Young Fraternity that we didn't really worry so much about it. And we were,
Sorry, but were you worried about doing something very different as well? Because, like I said, bands can release an album, and that
yeah.
they often say it's the third album is kind of the difficult one, but the second one,
Mm.
especially if you, like you said, you were going to go for something very different, diverse
Yeah.
from that one, was that not kind of playing on your conscious as well, your consciousness as
I
well?
everything was playing on my
Sure,
conscious
yeah.
at the time. Like I was young, I was scared, um, and but I was also like ambitious, and I think to an extent I still am ambitious,
Yeah, and that played in your
but
favor
back
completely. Yeah.
yeah, but back then I was like, I want to make this record. I'm gonna do it this way, and I'm gonna do it with these people, and it's gonna sound like this. It's very, very kind of just like, a tunnel vision. But I think to some extent it really helped. And I think like looking back, and we had Rock and Roll Queen, and Oh Yeah, and With You also did quite well. So we were doing something so different to Young Fraternity, and all or Nothing was scary because it was so different.
Yeah.
But we also made sure that we worked with a producer in Butch Vig who was like, you're in safe hands.
Right.
Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Just go in there, go into the live room, play your tracks. We'll capture it nicely for you. We'll mix it nicely for you. And we ended up with, I think All or Nothing is still Charlotte's favorite record. I'm
Yeah.
still really, really proud of it. But I think when it got to our third record, Money and Celebrity, I pretty much forgot how to write a song. And I think,
Really?
yeah, what happened was Young Fraternity was great, All or Nothing was great, the touring was amazing. We were playing huge venues, huge festivals. And then I'd go home and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I think I became so disenfranchised from myself, disillusioned with myself. I didn't know who I was when I was home. I wasn't. a singer in a rock band. I was just this guy who was waking up in the morning, sat in front of BBC News 24 with a cup of tea, like going, what am I supposed to do today?
And
And I would,
sorry, do you correlate that feeling, that kind of how you felt about yourself to anything specific?
yeah, I think it was just, it was a kind of crisis because we'd achieved so much so young. We
Right,
released Young Fraternity when we were 19 and 20, and 22, 23, 24 when we released All or Nothing. And I kind of got to my mid 20s, and that was my midlife crisis. I was like,
right,
who am I? What am I doing?
yeah,
And it was because we were in this hurricane. And all of a sudden you're like, right, you got a couple of months to rest. And I'm like, I don't want a couple of months to rest. I need to keep going.
yeah,
And I was forced to rest and I didn't know what to do. And I forgot how to write a song. I would sit there, play the guitar, nothing would come. And I did. It was like this creeping shadow of the previous stuff we'd done
sure.
was looming over anything I was about to write. And it rendered me like just powerless. I was like, I can't do that. I don't know how I wrote it. I don't know how I managed it. I don't know how we recorded it. But Young Fraternity, All or Nothing are huge in my head now. And it took not playing the guitar for a couple of weeks, maybe
Right,
even a month or two, and just going out, being with my friends, being with my family, relaxing, trying to find out who I am.
right.
And then we were getting pretty drunk one evening with one of my friends who just lost his job. We were buying him all his drinks, and he decided he was going to go home. Didn't couldn't I don't want you buying my drinks for me. I know I don't have a job. I know I can't afford the drinks. I'm going home. And we were like, oh, we'll come home with you. You're not going home by yourself. And anyway, later in the evening, he started to feel really guilty that he dragged us out of this bar. He was like, oh, we were having such a good time, and then I had to put a downer and everything. I went, don't worry about it, it's all good. And then he went, but you know what? You guys were there for me, and you came home with me, and we're great, and we're playing FIFA now, and it's excellent. And you know what? In a way, we don't need money to have a good time. And I was like, someone get me a guitar, somebody. Um,
Oh, brilliant.
Picked up a guitar, right? We don't need money to have a good time, and that was it. I was like, we're back on. We have a record, and since then, it really has just been. It's just really just about like getting in tune with where I am emotionally, what
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, and not putting too much pressure on myself to translate that into sort of a musical artifact. The music will come. It'll come.
Yeah. That's really strange that you said that. I mean, it's just really coincident. I'm just reading this book at the moment, Ryu Murakami's Audition. I don't know if you've read it.
I haven't,
Uh,
no,
well, I've only just started, but
no.
he lost his wife at the beginning. I'm not going to spoil any, just in case you do
Mm.
read it, but he lost his wife when he ended up going to a small village in Germany. And just like you said, he just kind of, just this quaint life. He
Yeah,
used to kind of have to kind of like, live a bigger life with a bigger factory, more money, and all these kind of things. And he went
yeah.
into a small German village and came back with a kind of, he knew what he wanted to do with his life. And it was just weird.
Yeah.
It's very much like you just said to me. Yeah, it was just, yeah, exactly the same as
Even
that. Yeah.
even in the music industry, there can be a degree of turning the cogs, of just like, come on, keep it going, keep it going. And I think it's very difficult now for people to engage in the exercise of like the artistic process because the cost of living crisis, everyone's having to work so hard, can't afford anything. There's very little space and time and energy to create. And I think it really is just about like equilibrium. And no matter how difficult things can get, and if I'm touring and I'm tired, if I'm back home and I'm tired, and there are all sorts of things that need happening, you just need to find some sort of like some quiet wherever it is, however it is. If it's reading a book in bed at night, 20, 30 minutes, that's where you center yourself and you can go to sleep. And then tomorrow you'll deal with whatever you have to do. For me, it's just like walking. I just when I'm walking, I'm thinking, and it doesn't have to be about one thing. It can be about a billion things. It can be about nothing. But when I'm
Whatever comes.
walking,
Yeah.
yeah, if I've got to do one job and another job, I won't get the train. I won't get the bus. I'm like, do I have enough time to walk? Yes, I do, and I'll walk it. And that's how I let the cogs turn by themselves without grinding them myself. So yeah, it was a funny one. It was a big learning lesson, Money and Celebrity, because it was like this. It was like it was about coming to terms with the fact that I'm a musician, a songwriter in a band. It's different to what all my friends do. It's different to what my family members do. It's still stressful. It's amazing, but it's still stressful, and all of that's okay. And then after that, it was just, about like just this constant journey of rediscovery, discovery and rediscovery. It's like, that's what keeps me writing all the time. And, the fact that the relationships keep happening, drama is always happening. The world always has some sort of drama for us to apprehend and compute and come to terms with. So, art,
Kind of difficult to compute what's going on right now, but yeah,
oh, it's again, like I like to think of myself as quite like politically and socially engaged, but sometimes you just got to put the phone away, put the laptop
yeah,
away, don't read the newspapers, and just like bring it back
yeah,
here,
yeah. Like
because
you
it's,
said, yeah, take a walk in the countryside. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, it is wild out there.
Yeah. But I mean, bringing it back to to this new release, would you call it a best of, or would you prefer to call it something else?
I don't quite know what to call it.
Yeah,
Someone's called it a compilation. I quite like that. Sometimes I call it a best of. But with a best of, it's sort of like it brings along with it ideas of like, I don't know, uh closing a book, I suppose, of like closing
yeah,
of finalizing everything, when actually like this is just kind of like a consolidation of everything we've done over the last 20 years in terms of recorded and released music. Which is why we wanted to include two new tracks, because we were
yeah.
like, yes, this is like 20 years of our stuff in the past, but we're still writing. It's still really important for us to keep writing, to keep creating. So here's two new ears, and now let's look forwards to the next 20. So, but yeah, I probably a best of is the best way to to posit
Good stuff.
it.
No, but yeah, because that was my segue to the next question about these two new tracks. I need to feel
Right.
you closer, which I just mentioned
Mm.
earlier. It's as alive as anything you've done, even when you were in your late teens, and also Passenger Side, which are both fantastic tracks. I'm quite curious.
Thank you.
Did they come about before you decided to do that to do this best of compilation, or did they come afterwards? And which inspired the other? Which was the chicken? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
um, I, I honestly can't remember. But just as like sort of normative procedure, I'm always writing. I'm always writing. I'm always uploading demos for Charlotte and Camille to listen to give me their opinions on, and to start building and contributing with their parts, like the drums and the bass guitars and backing vocals. And I think it just so happened that we had these two tracks written, recorded, and ready to go when we were pulling together all the songs for the best of. We knew that we were going to use some new songs, but I think the fact that we believe in those songs so much is one of the reasons why we decided to record them as early as we did. And they will feature on album number 6 as well, we
All
think.
right.
Well, it kind of depends on how many songs we end up writing for album 6, and whether we write any, like if we write 12 better ones than I Need to Feel You Closer in Passenger's Side, then we'll leave those on the best of and then move forwards. But yeah, we're always thinking of new ideas, always writing, and it's just because like we love music. We're always going to gigs. We're always listening to new releases of our favorite artists. We're always listening to new artists. They're always so inspiring. It's so incredible how up and coming younger musicians can still teach you so much. It doesn't end when you take the lessons from your heroes who came before you. For me, it's Fleetwood Mac and Nirvana and the Carpenters, uh, ABBA, David Bowie, and Blondie, but it doesn't end as soon as you start making music. It keeps happening. And looking at Shirley Manson and Garbage, and we're good friends with them, and we've crossed paths many times. And Butch Vig, the drummer of
Yeah.
Garbage, made our second record. So, I'd remember meeting up with them, and we were always like, "Oh, how are you doing? How's everything going? How's the new material? Have you heard any new bands lately?" Shirley is always listening to new bands, always keeping
Right.
up with the new stuff, and always allowing it to filter into our own creative process. And it's so inspiring, and it shows in the way that they keep making such brilliant music. So we've kept that as sort of a principle that,
Yeah.
we take new bands on tour with us. We always book local artists whenever we play tours,
Right.
so that we give local artists an opportunity to hit the stage and play in front of a packed out venue. But also, it's a great way for us to see and hear new music, to
Sure.
get a sense of the bands that are springing up, the scenes that are springing up all over the country, all over the continent as well. Because the great thing about Great Britain, and Europe obviously, is that you travel 20 miles in any direction in England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland. You're always like, the accents change, the idioms change,
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
musical genres change, the musical scene changes, and it is just beautiful. And that's very rare. You go over to Europe, and yeah, you cross borders, you cross countries. Maybe in Germany it's different because you've got Bavaria, and then you've got the northern parts, and they're quite like culturally different. But everywhere else, I don't think it's as diverse as it is in Great Britain, and we love to sort of just absorb that as much as we possibly can whenever we tour the UK.
I mean, obviously, this interview is all about you and this new album, but I'm really curious that you brought that up. I'm really curious, what kind of bright young fledgling rock stars are you listening to, or would you recommend at the moment?
So I am really into Congratulations. And we're actually taking them on tour with us for a couple of shows. We're really excited about that. Loose Articles, I'm a huge fan of Loose Articles. They're good friends of mine, but they made a record called Scream If You Want to Go Faster, which I take as a nice little nod to Spice Girls, or Jerry Halliwell. But we had them play with us a couple of years ago in New York, and I'd been really like, come on, guys, let's play a show together. We really need to play a show together. And I was so glad we got to play and share the stage, because I think like they're this fantastic uh, fusing of, like, what did I say? The Ramones and Oingo Boingo. It's just,
Right.
I don't know how they managed to do it, but they do. And one of my favorite artists at the moment is Hannah Ashcroft. She's a very good friend of mine as well, and she's supporting us up in Manchester at the Band on
Right.
the Wall. Um, yeah,
And loads more you could think of.
funny.
Yeah.
It's funny how, like, just when you want to think of it, they all
Yeah.
fall out of your head. But yeah, it really is so inspiring. And there are bands out there who I remember, it's so strange because when Wolf Alice came out, I was like, God damn, this is so cool. This sounds so great. And then, it would come through to me that they're big Subways fans, and they started out playing our
Right.
stuff. And then they played this one show. They played, someone sent a video of it. They played a show for, it was their second record. They played an album release party, and they covered Rock and Roll Queen, and a mate was like, "Oh my God, they're covering your song!" Oh my God! So yeah, we that's a good reason why I keep up with all sorts of different bands, because there are all these different kind of relationships that we have with each other that you never
Yeah.
would hear about unless you actually check them out.
Talking of bands covering bands, not long ago you kind of swapped places with Ash and sang "Oh Yeah." How did that come about? I think you did kind of like a joint headline tour or something. Was it off the
Yeah.
back of that?
Yeah, so well, we wanted to do a tour. They wanted to do a tour. We were chatting. They were like, "We'll headline in the UK. You guys headline in Europe." And we're like, "Okay." And we both have a song called "Oh Yeah," and it's no coincidence that we have a song called "Oh Yeah" because we're huge fans of Ash.
Right.
Um, I can remember at one time I was working in the Next warehouse in Welwyn Garden City in the Howard Centre. I was sort of putting all the returns back on the railings, and I heard Orpheus for the first time. I was like, "Oh, Ash have a new song out. It was on Radio 1." Oh my God. I was like, "Oh, this is so good. It's unfair because it's just raised the bar for us." We just started writing music together as a band, and we were rehearsing in the community centre together. And I was like, "Guys, Ash had just written a song that is gonna blow your minds." Um, so we've always been in contact with Ash, and we've always had Ash in the back of our minds. So when we wrote "Oh Yeah," that was our little tip of the hat to Ash. And then, when we started talking about the tour, we were like, let's cover each other's oh yeahs. Let's do a split 7-inch. Let's release it. And it was the most marvelous couple of months,
Yeah,
honestly.
I was listening to it again this morning. It's a fantastic cover.
I,
It's up there. I was going to say I don't know which is better of the two, but it really is a great cover. It really is a good one.
oh, thank you so much. I was so nervous when we did that. And I
Because
was like,
mainly because the vocals are very different to what you kind of usually sing.
yeah.
But
And it
you
was
hit
a
the nail on the
great.
head.
Oh, thank you. I tend to write songs where I'm like, I really want to scream in this song. And it
Yeah.
was great to have a song come along and it was like, no, you're not going to scream in this song. This is where the voice is going to be positioned. Sing it that way. And I did, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a night, and it actually did go on to sort of inform how I was writing for album 6. And one of the reasons why I sing like I do on Passenger Side is because of the way I was forced to sing doing Ash's Oh Yeah. But the whole time they were on a tour in Australia and they recorded their version of our oh yeah whilst they were on tour in Australia, and they're like, we've got it ready, do you want to hear it? And I was like, no. I don't need that pressure. Wait for us to finish our version, then we'll play it, and we'll see how it all measures up and stuff. And we're all every night we got to go on stage and play our oh yeah and their oh yeah together, and it was just like, but touring Europe with them was weird because obviously that was when we were headlining, and we would listen to Ash supporting us. So we were backstage listening to Ash play, and we're like, we've got to go
Oh,
on
we love
after
to
this.
listen.
We're singing every single song, and like that crowd must be going crazy. And just going on stage after your heroes is a humbling activity, but I would recommend it because it brings you down to earth. You're like, all right, we need to reset where 10 is,
Yeah, no, that's
and
great.
let's get that.
Yeah. Which I guess that's one of the things that kind of really helps you, like you said, singing. Oh yeah, the Ash version kind of
Mm,
made you decide to kind of change the vocals a little bit,
yeah,
which is it's
yeah,
a nice new facet from you because it's like you said, most of you can tell that you really kind of want to get shouty and angsty in most of the songs, and this
yeah.
is kind of a new facet. Yeah, it's good. Brilliant. What we're talking about, Ash, I cannot say that. Well, Ad Astra, I mean, you must have heard it. It's a fantastic new album that I've just released. There's some guitar solos in there that are just insane. There's one that goes on for about 4 or 5 minutes. It's just crazy, crazy,
I need to
crazy.
tell you, Tim is one of the best guitarists I've ever heard in my entire life. Like he tones it down when he's he. I think they have the same philosophy as we do, which is like whatever you write, you do to serve the song. So you don't try and outdo what you're trying to do with the song. You don't try and it's not about Camille doing a fantastic solo so that she can show off to all her fellow drummers. It's not about Charlotte doing a fantastic bass line or me absolutely killing it on the guitar. It's about like, what does the song need to say? How do we need to set that atmosphere, the mood? How do we purvey this idea as best as we can, as concise as we can? And so we tend to sort of we complement each other without outdoing each other. And I think Ash tend to do that. But I remember like one of the first sound checks that we experienced with Ash, and Tim's just noodling on the guitar, and I'm like, oh my God, he's like that dude can shred.
Yeah.
He's incredible. So it's good to hear that it's showing on Ad Astra. I haven't listened to it yet because I'm actually I'm in like a real purple patch of writing. I'm going I like the songs are sort of just spilling out of me, and
Right,
during that period I have to lock it down.
right.
I'm just like, I've got to go with whatever's happening here, and here, and just like follow that through as purely
Yeah,
as I possibly
I can
can. And
imagine.
then,
Yeah, because I've just got tickets for Suede, and I've kind of I've been listening to a lot of Suede just lately, and it's like I mean, obviously I'm not a musician, don't write music, but I can imagine just I've got all these Suede songs in my head. I can't imagine even trying to write my own material with all those songs
yeah.
going on. So yeah, I understand you completely. Yeah,
And I'm so jealous because like Suede are one of the best live bands I've ever seen in my life. We played a festival in Greece with them, and we were a good couple of bands before them. So we went on stage, we played our set, and we just got to chill out for the rest of the day. Beautiful weather, all that kind of stuff, and we're seeing all different kinds of bands. I was like, I really want to watch Suede because I've never seen them before, and I love their
I haven't
music.
seen them yet either. Yes, I can't wait.
Oh,
Yeah.
just you're in for a real treat. They are fantastic. I mean, the songs are great, but they really bring it to life.
Yeah. No, I can't wait because I'm actually I'm in the north of Spain. I live in Bilbao, so it's a really small. It's not really small, but it's a small, intimate gig, venue. So I can't
Wow.
wait to see it. Yeah,
That's going to be excellent.
it's
And
gonna be brilliant.
Bilbao, that's the Catalonia area, isn't it? Or,
Up in
or
The Basque Country, right on the
the
north
Basque
coast.
Country.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
love that area. I recently just went to Costa Brava.
Right.
Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So a
I mean, I've been here for
Palafrugell.
like 24, 25 years. So yeah, I can't wait to see Suede over here. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
amazing.
gonna
Oh,
be
I'm
great.
so
Mhm.
jealous.
Brilliant. I mean, you mentioned Camille Phillips there as well. This is her kind of
Mm,
the first material that you've played with her
mm.
in the studio. What has she brought to the music? Obviously, I mean, you said you're all day sending material to them and to listen
Mm.
to and that kind of thing. But what does she bring to the songs and also when you get into the studio as well?
So I think the main thing is that I feel a great sense of trust with her. And I think that was why it felt so special with Josh being in the band, our previous drummer, is that he's my brother, and I feel like we have this kind of like very intuitive relationship. And so when Josh left, I was like, well, what the hell's going to happen now? Josh and I could read each other so well, and yeah, we butted heads. And when Josh left, it was because he has Asperger's and bipolar disorder, and he was like, look, I we're off tour now. It's the pandemic. I want to take this opportunity to go. This kind of lifestyle is much more me. I'm going to go
Right.
into academia. Best luck with everything. I love you and that. And we were like, do whatever you need to do. And
Sure.
also, we had the time to find the drummer that we really wanted to work with. And we found Camille. And I think the main thing was that we loved Camille as a person, and or we fell in love with Camille as a person. And I think that is the main thing. Whenever someone asks me, like, if if someone is trying to form a band, what's the advice you would give them? And I always say, form a band with people that you love and that you trust, because you are
More
going to
so than
want
the
to
music,
open your
right?
and yeah,
Yeah.
it's someone who gets what you're trying to, who you are, what you're trying to achieve, or when they can when they see an opening or an opportunity to take you that step further or in a different direction, that it's not going to be combative, that they're going to do it in a very
Yep.
loving way. And we're very collaborative in that way. We don't work in a combative fashion, which is why there are certain producers that we just didn't work with because of the way that they
Right.
work. We're very like, we need to be zen. So when we met Camille, we were like, she is, we can sense the beauty in her spirit. But also when she plays the drums, she is a killer drummer. And it's not just that she's technical and she's uh, a physical performer and she wears those drums as much as she plays them. It's also that she's a composer. She composes drum parts. She actually teaches drums as
Right.
a second sort of job. So when I send her a song, I have it in the back of my mind that Camille is going to come up with something that I've always got an idea of what I'd like or what I imagine or whatever, but I do like to be pleasantly surprised or
Surprise,
even
right?
like
Yeah.
disturbed in a way.
Yeah.
And I know that
Disturbed.
Camille, yeah, it's
How
it's
so? How's that
great.
disturbed?
It's great to be taken out of your comfort zone and to be going,
Right.
I
When
don't
you
know
say
how I feel
disturbed, you
about
mean
that.
disturbed for you to play with those, or to kind of play with those drum beats, or to kind
Yeah.
of maybe rework what you've come up with to go with those drum beats. Yeah.
Both of those. Like
Right.
I think when you write an idea, especially when I write an idea, I'm like, this song is about this thing, and these chords are here for a reason, this melody is here for a reason. And you start to think of the song as a person. You start to
Right.
think of like I think of my songs as like colors, weirdly, or shapes, or like
Yeah.
fully, once they're recorded, I'm like, this song is a person. This is a
Yeah.
fully fledged, it has a personality and a being and like an anima. And so I think when I send those ideas off, they're not fully formed, but they're starting to take shape in my head. And I've realized that I don't have to hold on to that. That it part of the creative process is actually like handing over autonomy to someone else in the band and letting them express themselves and contribute to that sense of personality, to that color, to that shape that the song is eventually going to turn into. So when I send an idea off to Camille and to Charlotte, I'm like, I have an idea. I have an idea of where this is going to go or where I'd like it to go. And sometimes I'll listen to something and I'm like, I've learned this technique and it's taken a really long time. And I'm really thankful that I learned it. It's that I don't have to respond straight away. If someone says something I don't like, if someone says something I disagree with, even if they say something I agree with, I'm like, sit with it, think on it. And then, if you're still feeling this way, or if you feel different and you feel that you need to let that person know eventually, let them know in time. You don't have to do it straight away. And that's kind of like how I've taken that into the music realm as well. So sometimes Camille will send something and through, and I'm like, if I'm feeling physically discomforted by
Yeah.
how this song is making me feel because I never would have taken it in this direction, and now I'm like, whoa, I feel like I've lost the reins, but I don't need to panic because we'll work on it and we'll all get to hold the reins eventually.
Uh-huh.
We'll all be happy. And compromise is about giving stiff stuff up. It's not about claiming ground. It's about giving up
Sure.
ground. And that's
Yeah.
a real beautiful thing that you come to learn both as a person and as a musician.
Uh-huh.
So the great thing about having Camille in this band is that because we know and love her as a person, we can know and trust and love what she contributes, whether it works initially or it doesn't.
Mhm. And by extension of that, I mean, you said there that you like to kind of listen to what's right, what's wrong, and kind of mull over it and then make a decision. How does that transcend onto the stage though? Because then everything is more spontaneous. How does that, especially with Camila, is kind of the newcomer to the band?
Yeah. It can be it can get tense, it can get exciting. Um and I think because we spent so long with Josh as our drummer, we could feel where the energy was going, how we were feeling in the day. And sometimes when you're 30 dates into a tour, you're all exhausted. Maybe
Yeah.
someone said something that's really naffed you off during the day, and you're going to take it out on stage, not take it out at them, but you're just going to work out the energy on stage. And you can see where he's gonna toy with me on this drum loop here. He's gonna he's gonna slow it down because he knows I hate it when he slows down. And eventually you laugh and you have a joke and you play the set and the set's amazing and everybody's had a good time and you hug at the end of the day and all that kind of stuff. Um, and it's only really been the first couple of years with Camille, so we're still we really getting to know each other uh, on a personal basis as musicians as well. But there are still areas where we're like, oh, this is new. Not being
Uh-huh.
in this situation, this circumstance with these people in this dynamic before. And more than anything, it's you just laugh. Just
Yeah.
if you make a mistake, you laugh.
Just gotta get on with it.
It's
Yeah.
all part of the fun. Yeah.
Uh-huh, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I wanted to, obviously you said that these two new songs will most likely go on to form part of the forthcoming album,
Mm.
depending on how many songs and how good the songs are. How much? I mean, obviously, I don't want you can't give too much away right now, but how much work has gone into that already? How many kind of
Mm.
songs are taking shape? Is there any kind of style things, themes you can tell us about?
All I can say is that each song is genrically quite different from the one before. So we've got like I Need to Feel You Closer, which is very punk. We got Passenger Side, which is kind of like indie.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a lot of Beth's and Always and Mitski at the time of writing that, and that kind of come through in some of the sparkly notes that I play on the guitar. And then we've got a kind of disco track, and then we've got a song that's kind of Oasis-y, and then we've got a song that's kind of, I don't know, a bit Jose Gonzalez and Ennio Morricone. So it's exciting, and we've got about halfway through the writing and recording process, and I'm giving myself all of next year to write and record the rest. So
Right.
I think by the time we hit 2027, we're going to have something ready to go.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's exciting, and like I say, because we've got Camille in the band, it is it's a genuine thrill to upload something into the band Dropbox because you're like, here we go.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
something
Charlotte is
completely
always
different.
like, yeah, Charlotte is always coming up with something that surprises me as well. Even 20 years in, she is always uploading a bass line. I'm like, "Oh, how do you do that?" But yeah,
Which is great.
that's
I mean,
just.
because a lot of bands, but when they get into the kind of the 40s and 50s,
Mm,
they kind of lose that spark. So, and
yeah.
like I said, it's really good to hear you kind of speaking about it as almost like it's your debut album again. Yeah.
We kind of we it's weird. Every release does feel like the debut record. It never gets old. Like I promise you. Before we go on stage, it feels like the first time. We still get so nervous, and it's
Yeah.
because we care, because we want everyone to have a
Sure.
good time. We don't want to fall over on stage. We don't want to fluff up the solo. We want to do the best for everybody. And that includes the live sets, the records, the singles. There is always this tension that goes on. It's because we care. It's
Mhm.
because we want everyone to be proud of us, and we want everyone to hear something new from us and find out something exciting from us and about themselves as well when they listen to the song. We hope that each song and each record is a part of our relationship, that we learn as much from what people have to say about the songs as they learn from the songs themselves. So yeah.
Uh-huh. And so I know you're going on the road to take this to the UK and Europe. And
Mm.
like you just said there, that you get so nervous because you really want to make sure that you put on a good show for everyone,
Mm.
and they get what they deserve when they go to the concerts. So I'm quite curious, taking these songs on the road, what are you gonna do yourself that you feel you need to do this time round on the live circuit with these songs to make sure that you put on a show that your fans deserve?
Lots of rehearsals, eating healthily, hydration, but also like planning the set list is going to be really important because we want people to hear the songs that they have come to the show to hear. So I think before every show we're going to go, right, what do you people in say Norwich want to hear tonight? We're going to
Right.
we're going to try and do the best we can to squeeze whatever you want into the set list. But we are going to be playing some
So
new
we
songs.
talking like social media requests? Like, is that what
Yeah,
yeah, that kind
so
of thing.
we'll
Yeah.
probably be on Instagram in our Instagram stories. We'll be like, right, what do people want to hear tonight? And we'll be looking through the messages, going, well, I can't remember how to play that.
Your Wolf Alice cover instead.
Yeah, yeah. Can you play oh what's that song I'm listening to a lot at the moment? Unconventionally beautiful. Beautifully unconventional. I always get it the
Sure.
wrong way around.
For sure.
So yeah, they might request that, you never know.
But so each night is gonna be pretty spontaneous then. So people probably should get in and see more than just the one gig if they can.
I'd say so, like because
Yeah.
the set list, the track listing of the best of is probably longer than your average set list. So we are gonna have to lose some. We're gonna have to change some. There are some songs that aren't on the best of track listing that we're gonna want to play because we just really enjoy playing them live.
Yeah.
Um, there might even be, we are going to want to play I Need to Feel You Closer in Passenger Side, but we're really excited about the newer songs as well, so we might road test those
Sure.
just to add to the spontaneity. And testing new songs live is a great way to work out if you're going in the right direction.
Absolutely. It's like a comedian testing new jokes, sure.
Exactly. We'll come off stage and go, I'll tell you what, I don't think that second verse is snappy as it should be. I can just feel the energy draining from the room when we get to the second half. So we'll tighten bits up or we'll extend or we'll shift bits about and see how that's going. So yeah, a bit of that when we're on tour.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And so just before, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I mean, you mentioned that there were certain producers that you didn't want to work with. I don't want to name any names, of course,
Yeah.
but I'm quite curious. I mean, you've worked with some of the best, and I'm quite
Yeah.
curious, what have you gleaned? What kind of kernels of knowledge have you gleaned from the best that you brought to producing your own stuff?
That's a really great, interesting question. I mean, I the producers that we knew we wouldn't want to work with are basically, I mean, they're very upfront about it because it's like, we're going to be spending possibly 2 months in the studio with each other. We need to know if our protocols, if our like modus operandi are going to work. Like so,
It's like finding a new drummer. No, I imagine more or less it's the same kind of
exactly.
thing. No, the same sensibilities. No, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So we'd have producers going, look, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I like to drive my bands hard. I like to shout down that talk back. If you're not doing the take well, I'm gonna tell you about it. And we'd be like, we respect that, but that's not the way we like to work. So all the best and good luck with your next
Right.
project. I think for us, what I learned from Ian Brody working in the studio is just like real basic stuff that I can't believe like I was so lucky to get to learn basic stuff. And I think Ian knew that I was really interested in recording because I would record all our demos, but he'd be setting up the mics and go, Bill, come over here. Right, this is why I'm doing this because the sound waves are coming off this instrument in this way, and this mic captures these sort of frequencies, and this is why I'm doing this. And I'd be like, that's that's really interesting. Wow, thank you for telling me that, Ian. I remember this brilliant piece of information he gave me, which works in every situation. He said, the closer you put a mic to the source of the sound, the more bottom end you're going to capture. The further away, the less bottom end you're going to capture. And I was just like, wow, that's so simple. I wonder if it's true. And it is so true. So now if I'm like recording guitars, I've got a band in, I like to record up and coming artists. I don't like doing big
Okay.
projects with big name bands. I like up and coming bands who are doing their first recording for the first time, and I give them an idea of what it's like being in a studio. So I do the same thing. But you know, when I'm micing up a bass amp or I'm micing up a guitar amp or I'm micing up a kick drum or whatever, I'm like bass, treble, bass, treble, and you know, just using your ears. You know, putting your ear to the sound source of going, it sounds good here. I'm going to put the mic there. You know, just using your logical brain. I think with Butch Vig, I learned that organization is fundamental. It's great, the idea of going into a studio and just riffing and pulling something out your butt and it being brilliant straight off. And yeah, as you know, it might work for some artists, it might not work for other artists. It's never really worked for us. Going in and knowing what we're recording on what day, what we need to do is very, very helpful. It saves
Have
on
you,
energy. Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, you've never had any, whilst you've been in the studio, you've never had any kind of flash in the pan sudden songs that have come up.
We have. So
Yeah.
um, it's ironic actually that you know, Butch Vig he'd have this whiteboard in the control room, and he'd have the song names, and then he'd have drums, bass, guitar, vocals, backing vocals, keys, etc. And we tick them off, and you can like visually see the progress you're making on this record. It's not just like this abstract idea of making your way through the album recording. You can physically see the progress that you're making as you move along. But I had this idea and I was tinkering around with it in the control room while I think it's, you know, whilst Josh was recording drums. And Butch is very, very smart. He can do things that not many other people can do. He can be working on one thing and keeping an eye on another thing. So he'll be recording drums and he's going, what's Billy doing over there?
Yeah.
Right. So he'd finish the drum take, go, right, Josh, yeah, brilliant. Go get a coffee, go get a beer, whatever you fancy. Billy, what was that you were just playing there? Oh, it's just these chords that I've been tinkering around with. Right. Okay. And he'd sit and go, that works, that section, throw it away. Go back to the apartment tonight, come back in tomorrow with a different chorus and a middle eight. Play it to me and let's see how we go. And I did. I went back to the apartment in Los Angeles that we were staying on. I think it was on Fairfax and Vine. And the other guys went out to party. They went to a bar, wherever. And I was like, I'm staying in. Butch gave me some homework.
If
So
Butch
I
says
sat,
I've got to do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
that's it. So I was like, this is an idea that I didn't even really believe in. Like I was just like, this is just a bunch of chords that Butch said it can go somewhere, so I'm going to trust him. So I did. I got it. Charlotte came back from drinking. I said, Charlotte, go get the acoustic guitar. Let's really just see how this is working. She played it, went, that's really great. Cool. Went in the next day. About an hour and a half before Butch came in, we went into the grand piano in the live room and wrote a piano part for it. Butch came in and we went, Butch, I think we've done it. I think we've got this idea that that I was tinkering around with yesterday.
Yeah.
Played it all, and he went, I can see you playing that at Reading Festival and everyone's singing along. It's like, oh, he's like, let's record it today. And we'd never done anything like that before. So it was like, this guy who's like hyper focused, he's very attentive, he's sensitive, he's very organized, but he's like, nah, there's a spark happening here, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna catalyze it and light that thing up. And he did. Um, I think with Stephen Street, I learned to trust trust the song, trust the performance. I remember because of the issues I was going through writing that record, I was having a really hard time trusting myself as a songwriter, as a performer, and I was trying to outdo myself every take. And I remember just him turning around and going, "You know the part's great. Even when you play it in its most average way, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just play it, just enjoy it." And I played it, it was fine. And then, a couple of months later, you get the mixes back. God damn, that rocks. And you
Yeah.
don't
That, that
have to
was
keep outdoing yourself.
that
You
was
just,
precisely my point with the rock and roll queen. It was kind of like after that, or any other group that's got this huge hit, they just
Mm,
feel like they've got a constant pissing contest with themselves, now trying to outdo
yeah,
themselves all the time. No, that
yeah.
sounds like exactly what you were going through, no?
Exactly. And like I said earlier, the young fraternity and All or Nothing were cast gradually each day, casting their shadows over the top of me. And I was like, I've got to exceed it. I've got to exceed it. You don't have to exceed anything. You just write what you feel, trust in it, go in that direction, listen to yourself. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You got the next record. So yeah, Stephen Street was just like, trust yourself, trust your abilities, go with it. And after that, I was like, right, I'm going to record everything.
Yeah. So thanks to Stephen Street,
Yeah,
our
exactly.
producer. Brilliant. Well, listen, before I let you go, I want to put you on the spot with a few rapid fire questions.
I love these. I'm never any good at them, but I love it anyway.
No, no, but that's why I like to ask them because people, like you said, when you get put on the spot, it's when you really don't have an answer.
Yeah.
So, first of all, favorite venue you've ever played?
Oh, okay. I'm going to be. I mean, it could. Festival Reading 2008 was for me everything. 45 minutes, everything went right. I was getting shivers down my spine the whole gig. It was just like I can remember just going, I don't see us ever topping that ever. But venue, Troubadour in Los Angeles. I don't know what it is about that venue, but it's got something to it. It is like I don't know if it's haunted by ghosts of musicians past or it's the spirit of all the gigs that have been played there before. But every time we hit that stage, there is an energy to that room. And I don't know if the crowd feel it too, but I certainly feel it. It's a beautiful venue to play. Yeah.
Yeah, it's curious. A lot of artists say that when they play at especially certain places, they can kind of
Yeah.
feel, like you said, the ghosts of
Mm,
people who've trodden on
yeah.
those same stages. Definitely, yeah. So I mean, so apart from the best venue, next question is, what is one song on the set list that you will never ever tire of playing?
Rock and roll queen. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's both a boring and a controversial answer because everyone expects us to say when they're like, oh, what song are you most tired of? What song do you just never want to hear again? And they think we're going to say Rock and Roll Queen, and it's like it is every time we play it. I feel like it's for the first time. It's just like
Yeah.
get chills just thinking about it, and it's because of the response,
Yeah.
but also it's just so simple. It's three chords. The lyrics are so simple. The melody is so simple, and it just works. And when something is that right, you just got to go with it and enjoy it.
And do you still remember it in each and every single language that you've sung it in?
Oh, I don't know. I have to.
I
I'll
was
have
listening. I
to
was listening to
dust
your
up.
Spanish. I was listening to your Spanish accent this morning to see how it was.
How are you? Tú es el sol. Tú es el única. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's just so much. I only just realized that you'd done that when I was looking on Spotify today.
Mm.
And it's about 20, is it 20 odd different languages you sang it in?
I did, yeah. Ukrainian, Japanese,
All kinds of
Czech,
stuff.
Polish, yeah.
And did you do
Swiss,
that? Did you do
German.
did you do that on the live circuit when you played those different countries? You did?
Every time we play,
Yeah.
if we're playing in, yeah, if we're playing in Austria, I'll sing it in, well, it'll be Austria German or sort of a variation.
Yeah.
If we're in an Italian part of Switzerland, I'll do it in Swiss Italian. If we're in Czech Republic, I'll do it in Czech. I do have to like go, right, how do I do this again? But yeah, I've done it so many times over the years now that I'm kind of like, once I've said it a couple of times, I'm like, I'll be okay. But
So
we
we
like
need
to,
to. So no, I was just saying we need to get you over to a concert in Bilbao and do a Basque version. We need to get that sorted out.
absolutely. I was so like, I was so enamored by the Basque language because it's like, it's this, it's this beautiful confluence of like French and Spanish. It's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, no, great. Okay, next question. The moment on tour that made you think, "Yep, this is why we do this." I'm sure there's been loads of those, but which was kind of the first moment you were like, "Right, this is why I do this."
Um, do you know what? I think it was the first time I ever dove off the stage, and we played. It was one of our first ever shows over in Germany, and it was this venue called the Postbahnhof in Berlin, which is closed down now. It used to be like an old train station, and they sort of repurposed it into a live venue. And there was this like 2 day festival going on, and everybody was going wild. And I was like, I can't believe I get to do this. It was the first time I was like, I'm throwing down my guitar and I'm diving in that crowd. And that was, that was the realization where it was like things are really spilling over here. Something's happening here in Europe. So yeah.
Uh-huh. And also the next question, what's the biggest hitch, technical or otherwise, that you've had to to recover from?
So we played a big old show at Manchester Academy. I want to say 2011, 2012. And just as we're starting Rock and Roll Queen to finish the set, pew, power goes down and we can't finish the set. The climax of the show is gone, and we just walk off stage. That's it. We come back on and try and do an acoustic version, but no one can hear a thing because the venue is massive. So we're like, wow, that was quite the hitch.
And then so just to finish on, then so we're celebrating 20 years of the band. So I'm just curious, out of those 20 years, what one moment or one lesson uh, is the biggest one that you've learned from the 20 years in the subways?
I would have to say it's when Josh left the band because that was the moment when I realized things weren't ever going to be the same again. And I was sad for a couple of years. Josh, I love him so much as a brother, as a drummer, as a musician, and a songwriter. And I think up until that point, I never really fully apprehended and understood what it is that we had and how finite that is, how finite everything is. And it was like the first time I realized things are never going to be the same. And I look back with a brand new eye on everything that we'd achieved together as brothers. Um, you know, from when we started this band in our school. Rather than going playing football at lunchtime, we'd go and play rock and roll on the equipment that our school had locked up in the cupboard. We'd get it out and just, play a few Nirvana covers, Green Day covers, AC/DC, Blondie, whatever. And then eventually we decided that we were going to buy our own instruments, or our parents were going to buy us some instruments, and we paid them back over the long course of our illustrious career that we would uh, uh, invariably going to have. We were like, we'll pay you back. We'll pay. We did pay them back, thankfully. Um, and then it came to an end, and Josh wasn't in the band anymore. We weren't going to tour with him anymore. And that was, I think, the day when I was like, I am not going to just take anything for granted anymore. I'm going to look at where we are, who we're experiencing with, uh, who we're experiencing it with, and and realize the preciousness of what that is unto itself. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to be touring stadiums. We don't have to be headlining the biggest festivals in the world. We don't have to be selling number one records. We just have to be enjoying what it is that we do with the people that we're doing it with. And yeah, that was it. That was the day.
No, I mean that's fantastic. I mean, not just because of obviously it's saying goodbye to your brother from the band, but
Mm,
also the fact that you can kind of make music without the pressure of wanting to be the best. I mean,
yeah.
obviously, you want to create the best music you can, but without
Mm,
pressuring yourself to
yeah.
make those songs, then kind of just let it flow. So that's I kind of I mean, obviously, I'm not in a band myself, but I can imagine that is really lucrative in terms of writing music that works so much more powerfully and
Yeah. I think it's very easy for us to consider ourselves in competition with fellow bands, fellow
yeah,
artists. And there has to come a time when you realize that if you envision participating in the arts culture in that way, you are always going to lose because there
yeah,
is always going to be someone bigger. There's always going to be someone selling more records. There's always going to be someone headlining shows that you wish you were headlining. And the best way to see all of this magic is to see it as working with contemporaries. This is a culture, not a competition. And there are always people who are looking at you and going, God, I wish I had what they had. So don't waste your time looking above you and going, I wish what they had. Look at what you've got right here, right now, and go, this is excellent. This is everything. This
yeah,
could be the very best it's ever going to be. And I'm not going to lament that or consider it a tragedy. I'm going to embrace it and enjoy it. And
yeah,
that's when you realize like the smallest things in this life, you can enjoy, you can find joy in it, you can find enjoyment in it, and you can find validation in it. And yeah, and don't believe the people who want to set you up as competition against all your contemporaries. We're all contributing to each other's endeavors by
yeah,
virtue
no,
of the fact
exactly,
that
yeah,
we're a band who will play our songs when they're first learning their instruments will go on to exceed far greater achievements than we'll ever achieve. And that is a beautiful thing. That is one of the most wonderful things because, in some small way, we were a part of the beginning of that journey. And we should celebrate that and celebrate their achievements and be proud of them. Because why not? You know, we want to
exactly.
go, want to lie in bed at night and with a smile on our face and be thankful for everything that we have. So, yeah,
No, brilliant. Well, that's a fantastic way to end the interview. Listen, Billy, it's been so much fun to speak to you, to speak about these 20 years that have flown by. I mean,
yeah,
next year I celebrate my 20th wedding anniversary, and it feels like it was yesterday. It's the same.
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
But yeah, it's just the comparison. I mean, it just feels like it's yesterday. It's just flown by. But
Yeah.
so many things have happened. So thank you so much for sharing those 20 years with me for the last hour or so. I
Well,
wish you the
thank
best of
you.
luck with I wish you the best of luck with the release and the
Thank
tour.
you.
I mean, like I said, I'm in Spain, but I'm hopefully going to get over. I'll be over in England sometime whilst you're on tour, and hopefully
Amazing.
get to one of the gigs because I've never seen you live before either.
Please come down. We'll get you on a guest list. It'd be great to see you in the crowd. I'll give you a little wave if I see you.
That'd be fantastic. That's great. Thank
Wicked.
you so much for your time. I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully speak to you again sometime soon. Maybe about the next album or something.
Yeah, next 20 years.
That'd be great. All right. Take care. All
Take
right.
care,
Have a good
Howard.
day.
Thank you
Take care.
so
Cheers.
much.
Nice to see you.